Dude, what are you doing?
I'm murdering your mind with my psychic blade.
Perhaps we should discuss the Mind Murder Monk character build guide. Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds, I'm Nerdicus Steve, and today I'm joined by this nerd.
Nerdarcus Ted.
Want to stay up to date on D&D videos? No need to be a psychic, just murder that subscribe button.
But if there's more Nerdarchy you want to probe your mind with, you ought to attune to that notification bell.
Hey, remember, new Nerdarchy videos drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so just check in on the channel and you'll never miss a video.
Alright, so today we're making this Mind Murder Monk, as you calling it. So does that make you want to say,
I don't know about all of that, but if they want to see exactly what we're talking about and follow along, there's a character build guide in the description, as well as the character sheet provided by D&D Beyond, the sponsor for this video. D&D Beyond, a great resource for all your online digital needs for all things official Wizards, Ghosts, Dungeons & Dragons. It's a great resource for building encounters, managing your campaigns, or making your characters.
We've been using D&D Beyond for years, and at this point in time, it's hard to play D&D without it. Highly recommend it. You got to check the link down in the description below.
All right, so we're going to make the build, as you like to put it, or the Mind Murder Monk build. So this is kind of inspired by, I think you wanted to do a build, involving, a soul knife from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, maybe combine it with Monk, and I had some ideas as well. So we're going to kind of take all that, mash it together, and make this mind-killing monk.
Yeah, I think the Soul Knife was definitely a very cool class. And, in my brain, it automatically meshes with the monk fighting style. So, that's kind of where things started. But, we gotta pick a race first, because that's where we always go. So what are our race options, Dave?
All right, so we actually have a lot of options here. I mean, if you're looking at monk and you're looking at rogue, you're talking about dexterity and wisdom. We have some other requirements we want to make as well. But that being said, right, Kenku, Changeling, Half-Elf, Wood Elf, Halfling, there's a bunch more, right? So you have tons of choices as far as what race you're going to go with, as far as optimizing your stat choices. Because, you're multi-class and you got to hit those 13s.
Absolutely. And, we will always throw out there as, a disclaimer, if you're using the Tasha's Cauldron of Everything optional rules, I mean, you can honestly put anything into this unless there's a particular, set of racial features or cultural features that you want to apply to this particular character build.
Now we're going to talk about different class options. We went over some race options. Obviously, we're looking at the rogue because of Soul Knife, and we're also looking at monk. There's a bunch of different subclasses I feel like could work pretty well. Also, there's some bard colleges that would be kind of sweet to throw in here as well. And also Tasha has a fighter subclass that is psychic as well, the Psy Warrior. So all of these could be potential options.
I mean, honestly, if you look at the Bard College of Whispers and the Soul Knife, they both have an ability called Psychic Blade. So, I don't think you can get a better crossover than the exact same name of a subclass power.
It might get a little confusing. I want to use my Psychic Blades.
Which one?
So background options, again, there's a bunch of cool ones that you could go with. Performer, Criminal.
Acolyte, all of these really just kind of stem towards the different, classes that are there. Anytime you're looking at multi-classing, I always feel like there's something that automatically is associated with whatever, class that you want to multi-class in later. But we felt there was definitely one that fit a little bit stronger for where we're eventually going. And with that one, we're looking at Faceless.
Yeah, so Faceless is going to give us deception, intimidation, disguise kit, and a language, which we're going to take Orc. So we might as well backtrack to and mention race because of the kind of build we're doing here. And we want our Mind Murder Monk to kind of be almost like a spy or infiltrator that goes along with that Faceless. Nothing seemed to match better than Changeling. Changeling's going to give you 2 different skills and 2 different languages.
So for that one, we took the languages of Elf and Dwarf being the most common races in the typical fantasy scape. And we're going to take Insight and Persuasion as our skill.
All right, so next up is class, and for that we're going to start this build off with the Rogue, which we're going to get a bunch of stuff from that.
So we're going to get 4 skills being a rogue as well as thieves tools on top of that. So we're going to go with, some physicals to get athletics and acrobatics.
Sleight of hand and stealth. Also, we're a rogue, so we get to sneak attack, which kind of fits very nicely with this kind of build. Now, let's go into the stats before we go any deeper into our level progression.
Sure. So we went with the standard array for this particular character build. So we're going to go have an 8 strength, a 15 dexterity, and a 12 constitution.
Intelligence is a 10, wisdom is a 13, and charisma of 14. We're kind of likable too.
So you definitely see that, for a dex-based fighter, a rogue, a bard, a monk, we've got the requirements for all of them, right from the get-go. So we would have the ability to start off wherever we want and be able to meet the requirements for multiclassing into any of them right from level 1, which is awesome.
So we basically already told you what we get from that first level of rogue, except for expertise. And for expertise, we took athletics and stealth.
So the advantage of going there is, we dumped strength. So the expertise in athletics is going to allow us to kind of shore up that weakness. And since we are looking at this kind of spy character, we've already got a handful of things to allow them to blend into a social atmosphere. We can now get that expertise in stealth to literally be able to do the sneaky aspect of that.
Now, we're going to go for our first 4 levels in Rogue, actually, which second level, Cunning Action, always useful. Third level, we actually get to become our Soul Knife and get our Psychic Blades. 4th level of Rogue, we're going to just take that ASI and bump up our Dex by 2.
So from here, we're going to finally take our multi-class. So we're going to jump into 3 levels of Bard to be able to get our College of Whispers. So taking that first level in Bard, we are going to get a skill. And for that one, we took Perception. But we're also going to get access to spell casting and all of the fun things that go with that. And because we're building this very psychic, damaging type character, we went with Dissonant Whispers for a spell selection. Thought that was definitely fitting for this particular character.
Yeah, it adds to that psychic damage that we're going to be doing throughout this build. So we're not going to point out all the spells but that one in particular just made sense for us. We're also going to get Jack of All Trades, Song of Rest, the normal Bard stuff. 3rd level, we're going to take choose our College of Shadows. Again, we're going to get Psychic Blades where we can trade inspiration dice to do more psychic damage. And we also get Words of Terror. That's just, you spend a minute chatting with somebody and then you can make them very afraid.
So this is very good, for, that character who is looking like, all right, I've already got the ability to kind of craft who I am with a disguise kit and what have you. Perhaps this character takes on a persona when they're going to off someone, as an assassin. So like, all right, I plant this seed of terror in you while I'm in my, happy, non-disguised phase, and we're going to do all this stuff. And then I put on my mask and I come in and you're totally terrified of me and I'm better able to kill you. It could definitely be a lot of fun with this kind of thing.
All right, so for the next 6 levels, we're just going to shotgun Monk, right? And we're looking for a few things, right? Of course, we're going to get our unarmored defense, which isn't going to be great for this character because we're not going to be raising up our wisdom and dex together. So we're not going to care about that as much. We have martial arts. Martial arts is going to be super helpful for this character. One of the problems with the Soul Knife is once you make an attack with your psychic blade, it vanishes, right? Guess what this means? You can't even make an attack of opportunity unless you have a weapon in hand, and chances are you probably don't because you're used to using your psychic blades for stuff, right? But you're a monk, you are the weapon. So that's going to help out a bunch. We're going to be getting unarmored movement, so that's going to make us faster, deflect missiles, and then finally, what we really want from this is our monastic tradition. And where are we going for that, Ted?
So we're going to go Way of Shadow so that we get access to shadow arts. This is going to allow us to spend some key points and be able to cast a variety of different spells. Now, we're not going super deep with Monk, but these things are going to allow us to really be able to, get access to abilities that we wouldn't normally be able to do so. If you don't have access to Dark Vision, this is going to be super helpful. It can last a long time. Pass Without a Trace, to be able to just put a flat plus 10. Even though it's concentration, it's still just a flat 10 bonus. Coupling that with our expertise, this character could be, sneaky as a literal shadow. Could definitely become useful there. We are going to keep going with Monk. Level 4, we're going to get an ASI, but instead of, bumping up some stats even more, we're going to go in a different direction. Where are we going, Dave?
So for that ASI, instead of taking it, we're going to take a feat like Ted said, and we're going to go with Eldritch Adept, and we're going to take Armor of Shadows, which just means we can cast Mage Armor at will. Like I said, we're not really going to worry about that unarmored defense so much. It's not going to be great for us, but we're going to have a high dexterity, and we're going to have that 13 armor class as the base. So even naked, we're fairly well protected.
That's a 17 at the time of casting this, and if we take our dex up even more, that's gonna take it even farther. So that's definitely useful. All right, so we're gonna take Monk for 2 more levels after that, capping us out at level 6. We're gonna get that extra attack as well as Stunning Strike at 5th level. This is gonna be really helpful for us, as this kind of the mind murder monk. But when we go to 6th level, we're gonna be able to get Shadow Step from our subclass as well as the key empowered strikes.
Yeah, that Shadow Step's going to be a big deal. Anytime there's shadows, we can kind of teleport. I think it's like 60 feet. The range is good. Also, that first attack you make is an advantage after that teleport. So super sweet ability. From here, we're going to pop 3 levels of Bard. We're going to get our ASI right away. We're going to increase our dex again. I believe that's going to max us out. We are also going to get some more Bardic Inspiration. The die is going to increase, and also anytime you multi-class in the Bard, I'm always like, you should take at least 5 levels for that Font of Inspiration, meaning it's short, on a short rest, you get it back. So in most campaigns, I feel like that you're just doubling your daily number of inspirations as at a minimum, unless your Dungeon Master's really, really stingy. When we cap off our Bard here at 6th level, we're going to get access to Mantle of Whispers, which we felt would be a great ability for this character. The reason why Mantle of Whispers is so great is when someone dies near you, you can basically take on their persona and look like them and even know some of their surface thoughts and stuff like that. Now, as a changeling, part of that isn't as useful, but some of that other stuff is great, and it just really fits with this character. And it's also kind of thematic too, when you like steal, you steal the face of the dead nearby. I'm kind of digging it.
So this allows you to really, know anything that they would share with, anyone, that would be considered an acquaintance. So it would allow you to be like, all right, I'm going to go kill this person. I'm going to immediately go as them and go do something, to fulfill like the next, stage of the mission, whether it be, deliver an order or do any of these kind of, fun, clutch timing scenarios of like, oh, well, we thought he was dead. And like, no, this, he was still alive. He was walking, last night. So like, you can definitely have a lot of fun with that. You're not going to know any of their secrets. They're not going to, give you that kind of stuff, but there's definitely a lot of fun things that you can do if you plot and plan accordingly.
Now, our next 4 level is we're going to go Rogue. That's going to finish off the build. We're going to get some great things. Places where we had to make choices are when we get another expertise. We took Deception and Thieves tools. Then when we cap off, we end up with another ASI.
So this we're just going to do a +2 to Charisma. This is going to give us, number 1, a little bit more proficiency, with those talkie skills that we're going to use probably quite a lot of: Deception, Intimidation, and Persuasion for sure. But it's also going to give us an extra use per rest of our Bardic Inspiration, which is allowing us to do even more psychic damage, with those Psychic Blades, from the College of Whispers. So definitely a happy thing to do there. I think there's a lot of fun, But we get to the point here with this completed build, and we ask, how would you use this character as an NPC in a game?
This one's pretty easy, right? This is literally the guy you gotta stop. I mean, if you've ever read like Spider-Man comic books or watched Spider-Man cartoons where they introduce the chameleon character, like this is that character with a little more of a deadly edge to them because they have those psychic blades and ability to do psychic damage, and a lot of the abilities are able to get into someone's mind. I mean, literally your players could be sitting at the tavern having a conversation with them and them using their ability to frighten them. And guess what? At the end of that time, if the frighten doesn't work or whatever, or even if it does work, they don't actually know what happened.
Yep. Yeah. There's so many great ways, to use this. This character, we have a 10 intelligence, so I don't see this as like the main guy, but this guy is gonna have the pizzazz of charisma, and it should never be just a scenario of a straight up fight with someone like this. This is someone who is going to be a thorn in their side for a very long time, as far as I would use it. They've got the ability to go in, be anybody. They've got access to some decent spells with 6 levels of bard of casting, so they've got access to 3rd level spells. You've got expertise in a number of skills, including lying and stealth. That's it's gonna allow them to cover a lot of things. They've got the ability to teleport from shadow to shadow. They've got all of these other monk abilities of being able to see in the dark, and being able to be super stealthy with Pass Without a Trace. They could be just utterly devastating throughout a whole campaign, murdering NPCs, possibly PCs alike, in the dead of night, and getting away scot-free. You could even, I want to say it because it's awesome. But like, if somehow like you've got a player who is leaving the table, and you're like, oh, it's a great group, we'll keep the group together, and we'll just maintain. You could totally have this dude murder one of the player that's leaving, and he just takes that character's visage for a session or two, and then cause some havoc from there. I don't know, just a weird thought.
It is the perfect social skirmisher. What I mean by that, like, you could enter into conflicts with the PCs, whether they're violent or some other kind of conflict, and then have them exit the scene and reappear over and over again. Their chameleon-like ability to blend in is going to make it very hard to discern who or what they are. And one of the spells I put on the spell list was non-detection, so making them even further harder to root out. So this is the perfect spy assassin type character that can really, be the thorn in the player's side for like an intrigue type adventure.
Now, I will say, bards don't get access to counterspell, and counterspell can cause some more havoc in the fray of things. So having this character with a ring of spell storing or a minor ring of spell storing that has access to a counterspell in it, it's only going to be one, but at a clutch moment that could be really cool.
Yeah, so this build reminds me of the time we did the Mindbreaker Paladin character build. You can find that up here somewheres.
If you've enjoyed this content and you want to be a part of helping us create more, you might want to check us out over on Patreon.
As a thank you, our patrons receive 5e content for players and DMs alike, a chance to game with Nerdarchy, and more.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.